Hey everybody, how's it going? Are you picking me up loud and clear? My video and audio working? Let me know. Good to see all of you this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. Oh, we got some comments here. Railroad Bum says, Dr. Miano, I just wanted to say I love the work you're doing here. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there. These challenging some of these alternative theorists. I love good stories like anybody, but when people start taking some of these narratives seriously, that's a bit frightening. Thanks again, Tim. Thank you, Tim. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. James says, good morning. Good to see you, James. Ron says, good morning. Good thing it's dead for the first hour or so in my store. LOL. I won't tell the boss. Oh, it's your store. Well, maybe you won't get in trouble then. Yeah. Kevin says, good morning from Illinois. Happy to see everyone today. We're going to be going over the latest archaeological discoveries just from the last month. Yes, every month we have things to talk about, not just archaeological discoveries, but also historical discoveries, new research, things that have come out that you might want to know about that have something to do with ancient history. For those just tuning in here, if you don't know about the channel, I do ancient history content. Everything from the rise of civilization to the fall of Rome, basically the end of the ancient period around 600 or so. But in other parts of the world, it's a little different. In the Americas, I usually go to 900. In China, maybe to 900. But that's kind of the period we're focusing in on for archaeology here. So if you're looking for medieval archaeology or for prehistoric archaeology, I'm not really going to cover much of that. Matteo says, good morning from Italy. Valencia says, good morning. Scummy Mummy says, good morning from Orange County. Heather says, yay. Terrence says, heck, I thought this was the world of ambiguity. You got to look again. It's antiquity. I'm here, says Imperiused. Courtney says, yeah, I'm excited for new news. Hello from Oregon, from Griffin. Howard says hi. Well, anyway, I don't want to keep you waiting, but I do want to mention this. Live stream. I do this once a month. This is my chance to get some additional support for the channel. This is audience supported, this channel. So if you can help out with a super thanks, a super chat, a super sticker, anything like that, it would be much appreciated because the channel is funded. This is my full-time job now. Yeah, it's my full-time job. I teach at the college, but that's part-time now. So this is what I do. And only you guys can keep it going. So I appreciate that. Anyway, let's talk about the discoveries from the month, shall we? So the first one, I'm going to share my screen with you. Mysterious L-shaped structure found near Egyptian pyramids of Giza baffles scientists. You got to laugh at these headlines sometimes. Archaeologists and scientists are always puzzled, baffled. They find something mysterious, but that's how they get you to click on the article. Anyway, you can see this, right? You can see the article. Anyway, it says an enigmatic L-shaped structure found underground near the pyramids of Giza may be an entrance to a mysterious, deeper feature below it. Using remote sensing techniques, archaeologists have discovered this structure. So basically what they're using is electrical resistivity tomography, or ERT for short, in which electrical currents are sent into the ground and resistance is measured to detect remains, along with ground-penetrating radar. What happened in this case is there's an area in the Western Cemetery of Giza. It's near the Great Pyramid. And the Western Cemetery is where many of the nobles of Egypt from the 4th dynasty were interred. And there's an area in it where there's not anything above ground. There are no superstructures, right? They're like, why is there this empty spot? So they used this method and they found an L-shaped structure under the ground. Now, they haven't gone down there yet, okay? But that's the exciting thing. Hopefully they will go down there, okay? And see what it is. But there's a high likelihood that it is a tomb, right? So, because this is the cemetery. So, yeah. So anyway, this will be interesting to follow and make sure that we can find out what is down there. See how these new technologies are helping us to discover new areas to explore? You know, people would not have spent the money to dig down in that spot necessarily. Maybe they would have eventually. But if there's no promise of anything, nobody's going to go down there. Nobody's going to put the money forward to go down there. But when you can do remote sensing like this, and you can say, look, see, there is something, then you can get funding. Okay. People are more likely to give you their money because you're going to find something. Right. So that's what's cool about it. Uh, More hellos from everybody. Yes. Exivis says, congratulations on making it full time on YouTube. Thank you. Brent Lee is here. Hey, Brent. I'm a sucker for it every time, though. Courtney says 69 viewers should see 69 likes. Lovely people. Brent also says, isn't it a possibility that the subterranean chamber is older than the pyramids? I don't know about that, Brent, because what usually happens is the king goes first, and then everyone wants to be near him. It is possible. I suppose it's possible. I'm not ruling it out, but I think it's more likely that it's probably more. Well, although it is further down, maybe that does suggest older. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. How soon after are they likely to dig down there? I don't know. They found a void in the Great Pyramid itself, and they still haven't gone into there. So it just depends. It depends on whether you can get the funding, who's interested, if there are other priorities, all of that. Okay. I have a sneaking suspicion you're not in a library. Oh, yeah, this is a green screen background. Yes, I'm not really in a library. I wish I was in a library. Terrence says L-shaped and the size of L-shaped and the size of a banana. It's bigger than a banana. Elliot says, if this was in Pakistan, they would be charged for blasphemy and put in jail for digging kufr. Really? Maybe. Oh, it's a joke, I know. Just made it online from Czechia. Good to see you, Raina. Simon says, as Graham Hancock says, Atlantis is where you haven't looked. Won't he pay? You know what? He could fund something. Yeah, you know what? He could fund it. I don't think he will, but your view on Chinese pyramids. Elliot, no time for that now, but I don't think they're pyramids. That's kind of the Qin Shi Huang tomb. Well, you know what? Some people know this already. I'm going to China. When am I going? I was supposed to go already, but I'm going in August. Going to China, and we're going to go to the tomb of Qin Shi Huangdi. So stay tuned for that one. Okay. All right. Let's look at another one here. Villa near Mount Vesuvius, this is in Italy, may be where Augustus, Rome's first emperor, died. Yes, researchers say a villa buried by the eruption in AD 79 corresponds with records of the Roman emperor's death in AD 14. So what's that all about? All right, so anyway, there is a Roman villa that was discovered, okay, under the remnants of another villa built above it. So there's two villas, one on top of the other, okay? And they think the one underneath is the one where the emperor may have died, okay? The earlier villa, which excavation suggests was inhabited before the 1st century, seems to have been destroyed in the eruption of 79, and then the later villa was built there in the 2nd century. Researchers at the University of Tokyo have worked at the site for more than 20 years and now hope further excavations will establish that the earlier villa is indeed the place where Augustus died in AD 14. One of the archaeologists says, our site is probably the only one, or one of only the very few possibilities that we have. Okay, I guess process of elimination. I don't know. I from what I read here, there isn't anything directly saying that he died there, other than that it belonged to him, right? She noted that the site corresponds with writings by the Roman historians Tacitus, Suetonius, and Cassius Dio, who recorded that Augustus died at his family's villa near Nola, but the precise location of the villa is unknown. The modern town of Nola is about 5 miles northeast of the archaeological site. So it was really, really close. So that's pretty good evidence, written evidence, that this could be it, right? The 2nd century villa at Soma Vesuviana, that's where this is, was destroyed by an eruption of Vesuvius in the 5th century. You probably didn't even know about that one, right? Everyone knows about the one in 79, but there was another one in the 5th century. So both villas got destroyed by the volcano. Will people never learn? Okay. Anyway, many things have been found at this villa besides just them thinking that it belonged to Augustus. And you can see some of the pottery here. Okay, and it's got a little bit of background here on Augustus, but I'll leave the links below the video after I'm done here, and you can check out some more of the photos. Okay, so I thought that was pretty interesting too. Someone says hi from Finland. It's Ilari. Ilari says greetings from Finland. Dana says another live captured. Hooray! We love. Just scrolled past you. The news of the old. Okay. I'm going to try to give you lots of news of the old. If I worked a decade and discovered nothing special, I would damn well figure out some historic figure died there. I know that the archaeologists would they really love to say like some groundbreaking new thing about their site, like, oh, what we found here. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. But it's a good candidate. It's a good candidate. Okay. Oh, Lord Sobek says, keep up the great work, Dr. Miano. Gotta run. Oh, okay. Sorry you can't stay with us. Eyes Open says hello. One of my regular commenters. All right. Let's go on to another one here. Oh, Cindy. Cindy, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out so much. And Cindy is also one of my students in my Rise of the Romans class I'm teaching right now. I do teach classes too. There's a link below the video if you want to look at classes I got. I got one coming up called Assyria and Babylon that you might be interested in. All right, let's look at another one here. You probably heard about this. Some other YouTubers have been talking about it. The Egyptian pyramid chain was built along the now abandoned Aramat Nile branch. So we're looking at the actual scientific study here. And there's some images showing, I'm going to scroll down here, where this western branch looks like it may have been. All right, you can see where the pyramids are, and you can see where the Nile River is today, right, on the right. And on the left is this proposed western branch that this study is saying existed. Now, there's been some controversy about it. And the controversy, well, I'll show you a couple of articles here. This one came out, claimed discovery of extinct Nile branch near pyramids sparks debate among Egyptologists. The Egyptologists that is talking about are two in particular. We're talking about none other than Zahi Hawass and Mark Lehner, who jointly put out a statement about this paper. And then another article says, archaeologists Zahi Hawass and Mark Lehner refute new pyramid research. But that is a clickbaity title that is not actually what happened. If you look, it'll even explain it in the article itself of what the problem they have with it is. Okay, they have several problems with it that they came out the statement. Okay, basically, it's mainly one complaint, but in several forms. The main complaint was you didn't take into account this other research. Okay, there was other research done on this, and they're mainly talking about themselves. Okay, we did research on this, and you didn't even mention our names. So that's kind of what they're mostly upset about, I think. Okay, so here's what they say. Okay, the first problem: misstatement on pyramid locality. They claim that no convincing explanation as to why these pyramids are concentrated in this specific locality has been given so far. This is in the article, the scientific study. Okay, they said that's incorrect. They have already given a convincing explanation as to why these pyramids are where they are. The scientific study was saying, there was no explanation why they were here. Now we have an explanation. And Lehner and Hawass saying, no, Egyptologists have had an explanation for a long time. Okay. Um, and then another problem they have, for over a century, Egyptologists have posited that a Western Nile branch or canal following the Libani Channel provided access to the pyramids. This idea was notably advanced by French Egyptologist Georges Goyon in 1971, who identified this branch with the Bahr el Libani. So they said we already had a Western Nile branch theory out there. It's been out there for a long time, and these authors did not even mention it. Okay. Um, and then they talked about how there are harbors near the valley temples, that the water went right up to the valley temples where the pyramids are. So they've already been saying that Nile water reached those areas. Now, it could just be from flooding of the regular Nile where it is now, or near where it is now, and not from a branch. But they didn't mention this either in the article. Okay. And extensive investigations at Giza have focused on a Western Nile branch along the Libani course. So they've already had these investigations at Giza to try to determine that there was a branch of the Nile here. And they did not even cite the work that was done at Giza on this. So they were not aware of it or something. Okay. They also said that they ignored or didn't know about a papyri, the Wadi El Jarf papyri, which has the Diary of Merer. You've probably heard of the Diary of Merer, which talks about them transporting limestones on a boat to Giza. Okay. They didn't mention that either. So that's why they have a problem with it. I don't think that they didn't refute it. They're just saying you didn't take everything into account. You acted like you had some brand new idea, and it wasn't really all that new. But they're not calling into question the science or anything like that. So I think that still stands. But it is an interesting little controversy going on right here. Yeah. Okay. We've got a number of comments here, but let's see. No one's talking about what I just said. Okay. All right. Well, Professor, why is Egyptian remains still standing while most of palaces and kingship monuments, archaeological remains in China, is very minimal pre-Christ? Uh, Actually, there's lots and lots of archaeological remains in China. Monuments. Well, you mean you're talking about like something big like a pyramid or something like that? Well, they just didn't build those things as much. Okay, they built the Great Wall. That's a monument. Okay, and there were earlier versions of the Great Wall too. But I think there are plenty of archaeological remains in China, which I will show you some of when we go on this trip. India, a little bit different story. There's tons of stuff from the medieval period. And then, of course, we have the Indus Valley civilization from the ancient period. There is a gap in there of monuments, but we have them early on with the IVC. Lavender said, Lavender's talking to Elliot. Okay. Oh, yes. All right. Leonardo. Hey, Leonardo, how you doing? Hey, David, so much time has passed. Do we know anything about any mission to have a proper look at the detected void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid? I do not know of any mission yet. I was just mentioning this earlier that they haven't seemed to gotten any project going to go look. They probably don't even know how to go about it without making the whole pyramid fall apart. Maybe that's the problem, keeping the soundness of the structure. I don't know. Valencia asks, what are your thoughts on the Alaskan pyramids and other pyramids in Africa and around the world? Well, I don't think the Alaskan pyramids are actually pyramids. They're probably just mountains. Bosnian pyramids, also probably just mountains. Pyramids in Africa, are you talking about we know there are pyramids in Egypt and in Nubia already. Of course, many of them are well known. But maybe you mean other places in Africa? I haven't heard about any pyramids there. Will you cover the Hurrian Kingdom of Mitanni? I've talked about it in a few different places, but there'll be more on that. There'll be more on that. I visited Roman era caves in China. Oh, cool, cool. Anyway, all right, let's look at another one here. Let's see. Archaeological excavations unearthed the first great Iberian city in Kotestania, hope I'm pronouncing that right, and the oldest one. Archaeologists from the University of Alicante and the University of Murcia, is it Murcia? Okay, that's not even a sentence. Okay. uh, uh, he uncovered architectural ruins in, this is translated from Turkish, I think, in Iberia's principal city of Iliki, modern Elche. This is in southeastern Spain. Now, you probably heard about the Lady of Elche. Have you ever heard of this? I was thinking of doing a video on the Lady of Elche. There she is. Beautiful sculpture from Elche. We've known about this. But the site itself, there was not a lot known about. But anyway, excavations began in 2017, and remains have been found that allow a better understanding of the site. It dates back to about 500 BCE. Now, we know it was important because of sculptures like this. This is not going to come out of a small village, you know, it's very unlikely. So it is an important city. It's one of the oldest, maybe the oldest city in this area in the Iberian Peninsula. So, that has been found, I mean. And so that's really cool. So here's part of it you can see here. So they found a city. They knew something was there, but now they have been able to demonstrate it. They found city walls, 8 rooms that have been identified that belong to a house attached to the foundational wall. So it has a wall. There was a wall going around the city. This is a house attached to it. Okay. So yeah, here's some of the archaeologists that were working on the site. So you can read about that as well. And speaking of Spain, there's another one from Spain. A devastating fire 2,200 years ago preserved a moment of life and war in Iron Age Spain, right down to a single gold earring. A violent blaze, possibly linked to the Carthaginian army crossing the Pyrenees to fight the Romans, flared up so quickly people couldn't save their animals or their valuables. So basically, this is not proven, but the theory is that this city was destroyed by a fire. Okay, I should say probably a village. I don't know how big it was. And that fire may have been caused by the Carthaginian army. We're talking about Hannibal. Okay. So a ruined building in the middle of the Pyrenees records a tragedy for the people who live there, a devastating fire which burned a settlement to the ground, destroying everything down to a hidden golden earring. The place is called Tossal de Baltarga. I probably butchered that. And the city was destroyed clearly in warfare. Some army did this to them. And it's from about the end of the 3rd century. The only army we really know about that might have done that is the Carthaginian army. So that's how they put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, but they found some goods down in here. We know that Hannibal passed the Pyrenees fighting against the local tribes, likely the Sertani. Not many archaeological remains of this expedition are preserved. So it's another case, yes, I am admitting, where archaeologists are, trying to connect it to something we know. Oh, Hannibal was here, but it's a decent theory, right? Because it's in the right place and it's the right time. They found 6 animal bones, but not humans. So where did the people go, right? They burnt it down, but the people must have fled or something. But yeah, so that's the other one from Iberia that I thought was interesting. Iron Queen says, Pavel says, thanks for the free knowledge, boyo. Are you the Pavel Datsuk who's a hockey player? Because I remember one from years ago. Anyway, Iron Queen says, love your work. Thanks for what you're doing, spreading actual solid knowledge. Valencia says, no, never heard of her. Oh, the Lady of Elche you're talking about? Jason says, quick question. How often are new tablets from the library of Ashurbanipal of Assyria translated? I can't give you a straight answer on that. I don't recall reading any new ones lately. I think a lot of them have already been translated. So I'm not sure how many are even left. I know there's a lot. Sorry, Jason. I just can't give you an answer on that one off the top of my head. Hi, you're doing great work. This is now a second Hancock. His name is Dedunking. Will you be making videos about his claims? Because he is becoming that guy. Yes, I know debunking has done several videos on me. Um, maybe they will one day merit a response. Right now, I'm focusing in my myth series. I'm focusing on the big channels that lots of people see because that's having the most effect. But who knows? Debunking may take off and start persuading a lot of people. Who knows? Terrence, thank you so much for the $10 donation. This channel redeems so much Drek on YouTube. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It helps out a lot to keep the channel going. Do a video on mound builder myths. I could. Yeah, we could do a mound builder video. If I do it because I live in America, I probably should go there. Just doing a video from here, I just feel like I should go. You know what I mean? To some of these anyway. Mandy says, Doc, I'm doing research for my next book. In your professional opinion, how many how many penises does Cerberus have? Well, 1 or 3. I think the probable answer here, Mandy, is that it depends on which myth that you're reading. Okay. Debunking? Who knows? Maybe. You're in Florida, right? You could go to the Calusa Mound on Mount Key. Yes, I could. I could very well do that. But you know where I'm going first, Flash Man? Because I've been meaning to do this for a while. I'm going to Bimini. You know where Bimini is? It's in the Bahamas, but it's just, I mean, it's very close to Miami. You can take a ferry right over there. And I want to go look at the so-called Bimini Road. Yeah, that's on the agenda. That's one of my first Florida trips that I want to do here. Yeah, Mandy out here asking the real questions. That's right, huh? All right. Oh, we got some recommendations for mounds. Okay. Cahokia, yes. Let's look at another piece of news. Ancient family's tomb uncovered after 1,800 years in China. See the treasures inside. Yeah, an ancient family tomb in eastern China. There's 3 underground tombs that were found. Okay. But they were robbed. Okay. You can see they were robbed. Okay. But they did excavate them, and they're from the Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty is pretty early. Okay. This is between 206 BC and 220 AD, as it says here. So right in the area where it switches from BC to AD. And yeah, so they found some things in here that did survive the robbers, including even some wood. This is the wooden cover to the tomb. You can see inside here. Pretty cool. And when wood survives, that's something, especially when it's 2,000 years old. Yeah, a miniature wooden window. It's a fake window that they put in the tomb to kind of give the idea like, oh, you're in a house. They found 70 artifacts. Here's a rusty sword. Here are some remnants of pottery, red pottery. You can see some other pottery here in very good condition. And then I think I have a second article here because they had more pictures. There's the tombs again there. It looks like M3 was more exhaustively robbed than the other ones. And you saw that. So here's some other items they found. These look, this is actually a seal, 2 different seals to stamp things. Yeah. Made of bronze. And the tomb bears the name Huanjia. That's the identity of the owner of the tomb. And you saw those already. Oh, and here, look at this. Bronze mirrors. Whenever they show bronze mirrors, they always show you the outside of it, not the mirror part, because the mirror part doesn't work that well anymore, but they show you the decorative part. There's the sword again. So anyway, yeah. So that's a pretty cool find. And then we have a DNA study. Now, I thought this DNA study was interesting. Now, I have to tell you, it's in pre-proof. It hasn't actually gone through the full peer review process yet. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but it came out a few days ago. Human Y chromosome haplogroup L1M22 traces Neolithic expansion in West Asia and supports the Elamite and Dravidian connection. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the Elamite and Dravidian connection, But the Elamites, as you may know, were in Iran. They're an early Iranian civilization, urban society. Okay, Dravidians. This is a language group. Okay, Elamite is a language too, and Dravidian is a language group that is now located in India. And there was always this theory out there, and it's a pretty decent theory, but it's never been really established for certainty, that the Elamites and Dravidians are related to one another. Okay, but because we knew very little about Elamite, we're knowing a lot more now, and we do know about Dravidian. There are some interesting similarities, but there's still open questions about it. The theory has not been fully accepted by everyone. However, DNA is being used here. Now, I have to warn you, DNA can't tell you the language that people spoke. Okay, it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio here where this haplogroup is this language. It doesn't work like that. However, languages are spread from parents to children, so people believe, and I also tentatively and with some reservations hold to the idea that yes, you can use genetics to trace language groups, okay, to some degree, but it's not a hard and fast rule. You can't just say this haplogroup is this language. It doesn't work like that, but you can do it to some extent. So anyway, they did this, okay, and what do they conclude from it? Okay, this Y chromosome haplogroup originated in West Asia. This is where the Elamites were, around 20,600 years ago. Okay. They expanded with West Asian Neolithic transition, and another one moved to South Asia, likely participating in Dravidian languages spread. Their descendants expanded in South Asia around 4,000 to 3,000 years ago. So it was relatively more recent that this Dravidian group moved out. Okay, but they did trace the movement of the people. Okay, this is tracing the movement genetically. So now I'm explaining how you can use one for the other. If you can show that a group of people that used to live in West Asia migrated eastward and went into South Asia, which they have been able to show, okay, and you also have this theory of Elamites in Iran possibly going east, well, now you have a group of people that you could identify it with, right? Well, you can support it by saying people did move around that time into South Asia, so it could be these Dravidian people, right? So that's kind of the point of it there. Okay, so you can read this article about that, and I'm sure there'll be an official peer-reviewed version that's going to come out soon. Elamite was dynamite, says Lacrede's Pibe. Kevin says, what is the relationship of any between the you say it again, between Dravidian speakers with the Indus Valley civilization? Well, this is also somewhat uncertain. People will get angry with me for even suggesting this, but there is a theory out there that many scholars hold to, that the Indus Valley civilization was primarily Dravidian speaking. But there's another group of people who say, no, they were Sanskrit speakers. But that's still, the jury's still out on this, okay? It's a decent theory, but it hasn't been established for a certainty. What's the closest language to Sumerian? There is no closest language that has been definitely identified, okay? Will says, sorry, I missed when the move into South Asia is found to have happened. What era are we talking about? It was between 3,000 and 4,000 years ago, I think they said. Yeah. Which would be around the time of the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, let's look at another piece of news here. Remains of royal rest house for King Tutmosis III uncovered in northern Sinai. Tutmosis III is, as you know, one of the great kings of Egypt, one of the great conquerors, I should say, of Egypt from the New Kingdom. All right. Now, northern Sinai is not in Egypt proper, but the Egyptians did control it during the New Kingdom, the Sinai. And an archaeological mission there unearthed the remains of a fortified mud brick royal rest house at Tel Hebwa. It was called Tharu in ancient Egyptian, in North Sinai early this week. This is at the end of April, actually, but I missed it in my last video. So this discovery offers valuable insights into ancient Egyptian history. Preliminary studies suggest that the findings likely originate from the New Kingdom era during the reign of the 18th dynasty King Thutmose III. The architectural layout and scarcity of pottery found within the rest house indicate it was likely used as a royal retreat. So, in other words, this isn't a place that is inhabited all the time. They would just use it when they needed it. Okay. So yeah, you can see the remains of the building down here. And some of the items they found here. Look at this. That is a royal name. I'm assuming it's Thutmose III's name, but I don't remember what it looks like in hieroglyphs. But that would be a definite identification, and they don't mention that here. So I'll have to double check on that. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's a pretty cool find. And then, look at this. This is a study that came out. Ancient Mycenaean armor. Mycenaeans are Greeks. They're the these are the Trojan War Greeks, okay? Very early Bronze Age Greeks, okay? Their armor tested by Marines and pronounced suitable for extended combat. Yeah, so some Hellenic Marines ran combat drills in Bronze Age armor, finding it not just ceremonial, but battle-worthy. Yeah. This is a peer-reviewed publication this came out of, okay? This wasn't just like, people having fun, okay? So there was a study that was published in PLOS. I guess if you go here, it'll go to it. Yeah, and one of the oldest known suits of European armor is a 3,500-year-old suit found near the village of Dendra, a few kilometers away from ancient Mycenae. Since its discovery in 1960, it has been unclear if this was a ceremonial suit or if it was suitable for battle. So they did a study to see. They recruited 13 volunteers from the Marines, okay? These are the Greek Marines, and equipped them with replicas of the armor and Bronze Age weapons, and ran them through an 11-hour simulated Bronze Age combat protocol. And they determined that it was battle-worthy armor, okay? Telling us that these were not ceremonial, most likely, but people actually used this armor. Pretty interesting, huh? Yeah. All right, let's take a look at another one. Iron Age necropolis that predates Rome unearthed near Naples. So this is in Italy, okay? We have an Iron Age necropolis is a cemetery, okay? We often find cemeteries more often than we find the actual settlements because they always put the cemeteries out in the outskirts of town. And that's where nobody goes, so people don't mess with it as much. So we always find these cemeteries. But anyway, this is from before the city of Rome, okay? This is in the Iron Age, okay? 2,800 years ago, okay? Rome is only 100 miles to the northwest of here, okay? The discovery gives researchers a rare insight into the Iron Age cultures that existed before the Roman domination of the region, okay? It's near the town of Amorosi, northeast of Naples, and has 88 burials in pit tombs of both men and women. The men were typically buried with weapons. The women were often buried with bronze ornaments, bracelets, pendants, brooches called fibulae, and pieces of amber and worked bone. Okay, you can see a bit of it here. Not much to look at, but they found things in the graves. Bronze belt. Look at that, huh? Beautiful bronze belt. And look at these bracelets. Probably went all the way up the arm, I'm guessing, huh? Yeah. So anyway, interesting site here in Italy, predating Rome. Okay. Let's look at another one. Ritual offerings, hallucinogenic plant found under ancient Maya ball court. Okay, archaeological evidence adds ball courts to the list of Maya structures that were blessed with offerings. Now, we already knew in Maya society that when they built structures, they would often give ritual offerings to the gods at the what do you want to call it, dedication or inauguration of the structure when it was first built or something like that. Well, now we know they did it with ball courts too. You probably know about the Maya ball game, right? They built these great ball courts, so they played their ball game in, and they found here at one of the ball courts. This is I forgot now where it was. Oh, in the Maya city of Yaxnoca in modern day Mexico, near the northern border of Guatemala. Environmental DNA analysis of the deposit revealed the presence of medicinal and hallucinogenic plants, indicated that they were buried for a ritual purpose. By the way, I know a lot of people make fun of archaeologists make fun of archaeologists about they always, oh, you always say it's for ritual when you don't know. But this is actually, because why would they take the stuff and bury it with the building, right? They're burying it with the in the building for a reason. Now, what are you going to argue that? Well, maybe the plants helped hold the building up. No, they wouldn't do that, right? So, and we already know that they did this with other buildings too, right? So, putting two and two together, it's part of the dedication process. Okay. Anyway, there's a ball court there. You can see more about Maya ball courts. I have a whole video on Maya ball courts, which I forget what it's called, but it's in my travel guide series about the Maya. So check that out if you want. And look at this one. Now, this is prehistoric, and I don't usually do prehistoric, but I thought it was interesting enough to bring it up. This is about the city of Çatalhöyük. You know about Çatalhöyük? It's a Neolithic town. Well, when I first learned about it, okay, they said it was a Neolithic village, a large village, but it was a Neolithic village. But then more recently, I've been reading around and people are calling it a proto-city. Like Çatalhöyük was huge and they had a giant population. This is almost on the verge of being a city, okay? Well, they did another study on it to exactly try to figure out how many people lived in this place at the same time. And they went back to being a village, all right? Oh, come on. I read this story already. How did they do this? Now I can't get in? Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh, I have to enter my email address. All right. Well, the show must go on, okay? Yes, and you can know my email address right here. All right. Oh. Well, I guess I should have. Oh, no. Okay. Well, forget that. Okay. So anyway, well, I'll leave the link to this. Maybe I can find another better one that is not one that you have to put in your email address. But the point is that they found out in the study that probably had about 600 to 800 people living at the site at any one given time, which is a lot lower than they had been saying. You go to Wikipedia right now and it's talking about maybe 1,000 people living there. No, more than that. Like a few thousand people living there. But anyway, it's not looking like that anymore. So, hate to disappoint some people, but who wanted Çatalhöyük to be big, but it wasn't all that big, at least from what they're saying now. Yeah. You need an extension which bypasses these ad walls. Well, I have an ad blocker on, and I actually had the article up. Like when I was preparing for the show here today, the whole article was there. I don't know what happened. So, or maybe that came up when I put my ad blocker on. I don't know. Okay. Why were there less people? Where did they go? No, this is in a time period, Aru, where we don't even have cities yet. Okay, we don't even have cities. The settlements are very small, and they're getting larger. But yeah. Terrence says, Mayan ball gambling. My theory of why Mayans killed losing team is there was gambling and no better way to ensure no cheating than killing the losers. Interesting. Now, it doesn't look like the losing team was always killed. There are times when they weren't. I think this may be exaggerated about how often that happened, but it's a good idea. Yeah. If I built a town with 600 people before history and future people were talking smack about how small it was, I'd be so heated. I know, right? Yeah, come on, give these people some credit. That's the biggest one they had in the area, okay? Absolutely. Look at this one. Letters from Roman centurions found in ancient Berenike, Egypt. This is right on the coast of the Red Sea, okay? And so here's an example, okay? One of the found texts. Now, this is from the Roman period. Polish archaeologists are working there. I don't know if you know this or not, but there are archaeological teams from many different countries that work in Egypt and other places too. But anyway, this is a Polish team that are working at Berenike. And they discovered these documents, okay? Along with other things, they found coins and ceramics and things like that. For Egyptologists and other scholars of antiquity, this is an extremely rare and significant discovery. There are very few sites from the Roman period in this part of the world. The Egyptians do not promote this era of history, among other reasons, because it's a time when they were conquered. On the other hand, the range of these discoveries is truly phenomenal. Yeah. So Berenike was built by Emperor Tiberius. Okay, this is right after Rome annexed Egypt. Well, Augustus did that, and Tiberius was his successor. Archaeologists have suspected for years that the Third Cyrenaica Legion, which pacified the famous revolt in Jerusalem in the year 70, was also stationed in Berenike. So this is there was probably a Roman legion stationed here, they think, anyway. But now they've got Roman centurions writing letters, okay? Evidence of that happening here, okay? By the way, this is at an animal burial site, which is very strange. But yeah, they have animal cemeteries too. They have the names Hausus, Licinius, and Petronius in these letters. Okay. In this correspondence, Petronius asked Licinius, stationed in Berenike, about the prices of certain exclusive goods. There's also a statement, I give you the money. I send them with the dromedarius. Take care of them so they are provided with calves and tent poles. So pretty cool. I expect more will be coming out of here, and of course the translations will eventually be published with the archaeological reports. So that's pretty interesting too. This is my friend Dromedarius. He drinks a lot. Between Sumer and ancient Egypt, there's minimum 1,000 years time lapse. Why are they dated to the same ages? No. There's not. It depends what. I mean, ancient Egypt existed a lot longer than Sumer did. Okay, but the Old Kingdom is at the same time as ancient Sumer. But when you get to the New Kingdom and later and all that, yeah, it's gone. Okay, but in those early days, okay, in the early Bronze Age, they existed at the same time. Living in the Roman era must have been quite the experience. Yeah. I guess you can say that about most any time. Why were they stationed down the Red Sea coast? Well, I think it's easy to get your troops around if you go by sea. And also, they probably needed some security down in Egypt as well. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sure they had duties to perform in Egypt. Yeah, they were auxiliary troops equipped with camels, Kevin. That's right. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Teacher unearthed stone with ancient Ogham writing from Ireland in Coventry Garden. Take a look at that thing. Look at this ancient writing. It looks like just lines, but it's actually Ogham writing. Okay. Now this is Ogham was extremely popular in medieval times, but this sandstone rock, which they found in 2020, but they've only since examined. Okay. Ogham comes from, well, you have the archaic Irish language from the 4th to the 6th century. That's ancient. And then Old Irish from the 6th to the 9th. That's medieval. But they used Ogham to write archaic Irish in the 4th to 6th century, as well as in the 6th to 9th. And this is probably from the early period, this particular artifact. This is a very early example of Ogham from Ireland. So, yeah, it's unique. It's lines arranged in groups from 1 to 5 only. The stones provide insight into the Irish language before the use of the Latin insular script. So there they are with it right between them on the wall, I guess that is. Here's some close-ups of it. It tells you what it says, but I don't know the language, so I can't tell you what it means. Oh, let's see. Oh, the inscription puzzled researchers. Oh, yes, that always happens. They think it's a personal name, perhaps. But anyway, there you go. Interesting. And then we have ancient manuscripts reveal Analects of Confucius spread to southwest China 2,000 years ago. So, of course, that Confucius lived in northeastern China. Okay, this is southwestern China, very far away. And you wonder, like, well, how long did it take for his writings to go to southwestern China? Now we know. Okay, 2,000 years ago. This is in the Han Dynasty, the Han Dynasty we were just talking about. Okay. Prior to the invention and widespread usage of paper, slips of bamboo or wood were tied together to form books that could be written upon and rolled up like scrolls. That's what they had at this time. And they found evidence of the Analects. I think they just found a piece of it. With content matching the Analects. Okay. So it's from 2,000 years ago. We know that Confucius's writings spread pretty far through China by this time. Now, how long after Confucius is this? It's about 500 years, something like that. So that's a long time, I suppose. But that was interesting too. Let's see. Was China even unified 2,000 years back? Not all of China, but a large part of China. In the Han Dynasty, China was unified. It actually was unified in the Qin Dynasty before that, but that didn't last long. But in the Han Dynasty, yes, it was reunified, and it was a large part of China. Not all of today's China, but a large part of China was unified during the Han Dynasty. Yeah. Are excavations taking place at Ebla? I don't know if there are any current excavations taking place there. There have been excavations there, but I'm not sure about right now. Cosmic rays illuminate the past. Researchers at the University of Bern, for the first time, have been able to pin down a prehistoric settlement. This is prehistoric. It's 5259 BC, so it's not that prehistoric. But anyway, this is more refinement of carbon dating. Okay, so we have radiocarbon dating, as you know. We have dendrochronology, which helps to calibrate it and make it more accurate. Okay, now they're using cosmic rays to make it even more accurate. So cosmic rays, in case you don't know, can affect the rate of carbon decay. All right, but anyway, now they're precisely dating timber from the archaeological site of Dispilio. This is where the Dispilio tablets are from, in northern Greece, where dating to the year had previously not been possible. Okay, because they knew about this, they was unable to calibrate it. You weren't able to use carbon dates, but now, because of the study using high energy particles from space, okay, they can now calibrate the dates, and they can get exact dates for the tree rings. So this is actually calibrating the tree rings, not the carbon dating. But the carbon dating, you can carbon date the trees also, if that makes sense. But now they got the tree rings more precise. Okay, and it's all due to this Japanese physicist named Fusa Miyake. Okay, he discovered that it has to be a massive influx of cosmic rays, presumably due to solar flares, can cause an uptick in the atmosphere's 14C content. Oh, I guess it doesn't affect the decay rate. It affects the amount of carbon-14 in the atmosphere. These spikes can be accurately dated now on the basis of long tree ring chronologies, and because they're global events, they're important anchor points, especially in regions without consistent annual growth ring chronologies. So you have areas where the trees aren't matching up with the trees in the other parts of the world, but now this new science helps us to do that so they can match them up. Okay, so now at Despilio, things can be dated. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. Cosmic rays is ambiguous. Do they mean muons? I don't know, Mountain Nomad. I'm not sure. It's not my area of expertise. Aulette says the government controls all information coming out. There is no independent research in China. I don't know about that because American archaeologists, European archaeologists, archaeologists from anywhere in the world can go to China and do work there with the Chinese, of course. People can do studies there in history and all of that. When they come home, the Chinese can't prevent them publishing about anything, right? They can control the information that comes out in China, but they can't control the information that comes out with people who then can talk about it when they leave, you know? Yeah. Decay rate should always be constant, shouldn't it? Caitlin, welcome, Caitlin. Good to see you. Caitlin, everybody. She was in my video on Randall Carlson. I think the decay rate is always constant. Yes, it's other things, right, that mess it up. Yeah. Okay. I got another person asking me about pyramids in China. There are not a bunch of pyramids in China. There aren't. There are things that look like pyramids, but they're not pyramids. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to another one. I'm actually I've got a number here. I don't have to share all of them with you, but I don't want to leave things out. A Syriologist solves archaeological mystery from 700 BC in Khorsabad, Iraq. So anyway, see these images here? These are old. I think they're from a French publication from is it the 1800s? This is from a place called Dur-Sharrukin, which was a city built as the capital of Assyria by Sargon II. This is the Neo-Assyrian Empire we're talking about. Okay, he ruled in the 700s BCE. All right, and then they found these images on the walls. Okay, like this. Okay. Anyway, a new study is now saying that these are symbolic, kind of like hieroglyphs in a way, and that they spell out Sargon's name and also representing specific constellation. Now, this is a study that argues this. It's not proof. Okay, it's someone saying, this is what I think. It's gotten some attention. I thought it was worth pointing out. It doesn't mean it's automatically true. But he says each of the 5 symbols can also be understood as a constellation. Thus, the lion represents Leo, the eagle, Aquila, and so forth. I'm starting to doubt this now because the zodiac didn't exist yet in the 700s BCE. So I'm a little concerned about this. But anyway, he's an Assyriologist. So he's a respectable professional here who believes this spells out Sargon's name. I'm a little skeptical about the constellations part. I'm skeptical when anyone looks at the image of a lion or a scorpion or a bull and just automatically says that's Leo, Taurus, whatever, and no questions asked, right? Every depiction of an animal is not necessarily a constellation, so I'm a little skeptical about this. But maybe it does spell out Sargon's name. I don't know. But I'll leave the link for you. Okay. All right, another one. What did Roman wine taste like? I saved this from April because I didn't cover it in my last video. But anyway, much better than previously thought. Okay. So they did some research on Roman wine. Okay. And for a long time, we thought, oh, the way they're describing the Roman wine in the documents and everything, it must have been terrible. Okay. But now they've done a recent study of earthenware vessels used in wine fermentation, challenging the view that the quality of Roman wine was poor. Okay. I don't, here's the thing, right? Why would people drink something in mass quantities if it wasn't good? You know what I'm saying? Uh, so anyway, they compared all these Roman dolia. This is where these are the jars that they put the wine in, and now they're saying, well, it looks like these are pretty good wines. Okay, I don't have time to go over all this with you because we don't have time, but you can read more about it when you get a chance. Looks like Roman wine might have been pretty good. Okay. This is from India, northern India. Ancient treasures from pre-Ahom era found in Assam temple. Assam is the name of the place where this is. You can see the archaeology done here. Okay. And now this is a place where many buildings were built over many, many centuries. Okay. But we're talking about the oldest stuff. They've dug down to the oldest stuff. And I guess you might say this is medieval, but I have it 655 to 900 CE. Okay. The Salastamba period. Okay. There was a temple here, an early one. Okay. Between 655 and 900. And it was constructed during the reign of the Salastamba dynasty. It's of magnificent Pancharatha design, featuring a combination of bricks and stones. Okay. And so it's a new temple in India. I'm mentioning it also because finding very early temples in India is difficult. They have cave temples from earlier times. Cave temples are easier to find, but actually freestanding temples, very rare in this period. So that's why I thought it was worth telling you about. Bronze Age petroglyphs discovered in Kazakhstan. See these? Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? Now, there was just some people hiking, I think, and they found it. I think it was hikers. And they found these petroglyphs on this rock right here. And they're from the Bronze Age. Now they got the archaeologists working on it. There's not much else to say about that, but they're pretty interesting. Okay. Archaeologists find ancient Maya beekeeping tools on Maya train route. Yeah, this is actually a current Maya beekeeper, okay? But they did find, and there's a bee, they found beekeeping tools, okay, in Quintana Roo, the Maya train, that's an area, okay? They discovered 3 limestone jabon lids. I'm not even sure if is it hobone lids? Plus other artifacts of Maya daily life, not related to beekeeping. And here's one of the lids. Yeah, so I guess this is identifiable as for beekeeping. So yeah, the Maya did beekeeping, so it's kind of interesting. Some of these I can breeze through because they're not super involved. Human sacrifice evidence in Iron Age bones, says Bournemouth researchers. So this is in Dorset in the UK. Okay, they found bones of a woman who was sacrificed. We got evidence of human sacrifice here in the UK. Yeah. Now this goes. She was in her late 20s. She was stabbed in the neck. Rare physical evidence of human sacrifice. So I guess she's not the only one in the UK, but her spine showed evidence of hard labor. Her ribs were broken, and isotopes in her teeth suggest she grew up more than 20 miles away. But you can see some of the bones here. So yes, human sacrifice was practiced, at least occasionally, in ancient Britain. Remains of 2 men from central China shed light on ancient practice of punitive amputation. See, here's an example right here. Texas A&M professors, right? These are American researchers working in China, and they're publishing freely about their finds, okay? Publishing here, okay, about their finds. So Two individual members of the aristocracies had their legs amputated, apparently as punishment for crimes they had committed. And here are their tombs. I'm assuming the amputations took place while they were, in their lifetimes, and then well, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess, right, yeah. So in other words, you notice how they're missing part of their shin and foot? So that means they were buried without those parts, meaning that they must have lived their lives, some part of their lives, without those parts. But those parts can be seen to be amputations. Okay. Now, why do they think it was not a medical amputation? I forgot now. But they did do in the study something that showed that it was for criminal activity. Yeah. Both men were members of the aristocracy during the Eastern Zhou dynasty. This is actually even earlier than the Han dynasty. And both were likely subjected to an ancient form of criminal punishment known as yue. This practice sought to permanently shame and impair criminals by removing parts of the body. It must have been the way that it was amputated that it fits the descriptions we have in the writings, okay, that they knew it was as a punishment. But you can read more about that here. I'm ignoring all your comments. Sorry. Let's take a look at what we got here. If you had all the money, technology, and time world can offer, where in the world would you choose to conduct archaeological research? Well, I'm not an archaeologist. See, I'm a historian, so I study documents. So I would want to go to a library, you know. So put me in the Vatican Library or something like that. Let me go study Egyptian papyri or Assyrian, like Ashurbanipal's library. We talked about that earlier. I would love to do that kind of stuff rather than dig, you know. But if I could choose where I want somebody else to do archaeological research, okay, where would I want them to do it? Gee, I'm not sure. What are the most promising sites? Egypt is great, but boy, it's been done a lot. I like to see something different, you know. You know what? Here's what I would say. India has a lot of great archaeological sites, and they got no funding. They got no money at all to do anything. They don't even have money to keep up the sites that they've already found. So I would like to see more work done there. I'll say that. Let's see. The Herculaneum Library Project would be ideal then. That would be great. Yeah, that would be great. What kind of things are in the Vatican Library? Well, probably mostly Christian history stuff now that I think about it, and more medieval than ancient. But so yeah, but they do have ancient things there too. They have ancient documents there as well, and that's what I would probably concentrate on. Why are cuneiform tablets rotting on museum shelves yet to be deciphered? Because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of them, but there are people that do work on them. But we only have like cuneiform specialists. There's probably less than 100 in the entire world. So there's a lot of work, you know, for very few people to do. Yeah. So study cuneiform, and then you can start deciphering them. All right. I've got 3 more to show you real quick. Okay. Then I got to wrap it up. Meet the Stone Age Trundling man. I don't even know if I said that right. This is a reconstruction of a man they found in 1916. Okay. Human bones, 25-year-old guy from the Stone Age. This is 4,000 years ago. All right. And he drowned. All right. So he had pretty well preserved skeleton. And based on what was left over, you always have to take these reconstructions with a grain of salt, okay? Because the artist has to imagine some things too. But they did the best they could to reconstruct what he may have looked like. So there he is. And now he's in the museum. Hitra Man, he's called. Oh, interesting. They call him the Hitra Man, but also the Trondhelag Man, so I'm not sure why. It's on the island of Hitra. But anyway, there he is. And then we have pottery residue research explores culinary traditions in Germany from the early Neolithic to the Bronze Age. So this is about studying food that was found in pots. And all I wanted to say about this was interesting. They studied 124 pots and found exactly the time when they started using dairy products. And I think it was in the fourth millennium BC. I say exact time. Okay, we got to narrow down to 1,000 years. How's that? But yeah, so that was that one. And then the last one I have here is Roman snail dye found in UK for the first time. So you know about Tyrian purple? This is how they used a snail, right, to make purple dye. And this comes from Lebanon. That's where they originally invented it. But now they found some snail dye in this is in Roman times in the UK, meaning they had it brought here. It was about the size of a ping pong ball. And they found it at the Carlisle Cricket Club. Yeah, because at the cricket club they found a Roman bathhouse. I don't know what the Tyrian purple was doing in the bathhouse, but that's where it was. And it was worth more than gold. It was super expensive. Okay. Made from the glands of a marine snail. About 12,000 snails were needed to obtain less than 2 grams of pigment. Yeah, very involved process. Okay. So that was the last one I wanted to share with you. So there you have it, folks. We have all kinds of news coming out every month about archaeology. I'll be doing another live stream next month for all the latest discoveries. It just goes to show, you hear sometimes people online saying, oh, archaeology, they have a narrative and it never changes. It changes with every single discovery. Everything that we talked about here changes the narrative of ancient history because something new is discovered, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And that's why they have to keep updating the textbooks every few years. Also because the publishers want to make money, but but they do update the books every few years. Carlisle seems quite an important town in Roman era. Yeah, Felix, I think it probably was. Yeah. Thank you for all coming out today. Appreciate it. If you can give a super chat, super sticker, or super thanks, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you, Glenn, for moderating. And I hope to see you next time. If you haven't familiarized yourself with my channel yet, go check out some of the videos. Good to see you, everybody. And we'll see you next time.